Annabelle.
Yeah?
There are places we go and there are rules that we follow when we go places. So maybe rules at home.
Yeah.
Yep, so rules at home for our safety, like don't go wandering out without telling mum and dad, and asking permission for things. There's rules at sport.
Yeah, there is too. You can't just do whatever you want.
That's right, so there's rules for fair games. Okay. And there's rules at school.
Yes, there are.
What rules do you have to follow at school?
Well, I'm not allowed to call out in class. Miss!
That's right. So what do you have to do instead?
I have to put my hand up and wait quietly.
Okay. Well, sometimes there are rules that change, or there's an exception to the rules. So what if you're in class and you're the first one to see a fire?
Well, I'd put my hand up and wait quietly to tell the teacher.
Is that a good idea?
Yes, because that's the rules.
But what if the fire was getting bigger and the teacher doesn't notice that you've got your hand up?
I'd still wait very quietly.
What if it was getting closer and bigger and you had to leave very quickly?
Oh, yeah, so I'd be allowed to call out then?
Yeah, you'd be allowed to call out if it's a safety issue, and sometimes rules change when things change, when things are different. So we heard a story about Jesus. So Jesus, when he came to earth, there were religious leaders that followed a lot of rules, and one of the rules was on a Saturday you don't work.
Oh, goody!
Well, what that meant was you did nothing. You didn't clean.
I don't like cleaning, so I like that rule.
Okay. You didn't cook. You didn't mow your lawn.
Oh.
You didn't play sport. You didn't play games because that was considered work. You didn't do anything, and the religious leaders got upset with you if you didn't follow those rules. But there was a problem. There was a man who had a paralysed hand.
Yeah.
And he came to Jesus on the Saturday. And the religious leaders were watching, see what Jesus was going to do. What do you think the right thing for Jesus to do was?
Well, I think if he had to follow the rules, maybe tell that man come back on Sunday.
You think that was the right thing to do?
Well, he didn't want to get in trouble.
But that rule had to change. So Jesus, because he cared about that man more than he cared about the rules, he healed the man on the Saturday. And do you think the religious leaders were happy? Because that would have been amazing seeing somebody get healed, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
No, they were grumpy with him. They were very unhappy.
Well, that's a bit silly.
So when Jesus died on the cross and rose again, things changed and didn't have to worry about following a bunch of rules. Jesus wanted us to follow him instead and worry about following God and doing what pleases God rather than following a bunch of rules.
Wow.
Well, the kids are going to go off to their programs and hear more about Jesus. Well, you're going to go off with Shanae and Mitch and do some good listening because you'll do lots of good learning.
Maybe if we have Annabelle there.
Off you go.